What is the best posh small family car? Is it the recently revised Mercedes A-Class, the Audi A3, the BMW 1 Series, or the Volkswagen Golf? It's a case of the best or nothing, Vorsprung der Technik, the ultimate driving machine, and Das Auto going head to head. When it comes to company tagline, poor old Volkswagen aren't winning. Hopefully they can do better in the rest of the test. Let's do it. Buy, sell,
Car wow.
Let's start this video by talking about cold, hard cash. These are the starting prices of each of these cars. But these are the actual prices of the cars I have here on test right now. And these are the savings you can get across these model ranges on average through CarWow right now. And to make sure you're paying a fair price for your next car, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below to go to CarWow. You can now also sell your current car through CarWow as well as buy your next car. All you have to do is upload some photos of your car, give a brief description, then dealers all across the country will bid on your car. Then you just pick the highest offer, they'll come to your house, take the car away and put the money into your account. It's easy. If you want to do any of that at a later date, just simply Google "Help me CarWow" and we will help you change your car. I think the Mercedes has the most attractive looking face out of these four cars, and recently they've updated it to make it a bit more aggressive thanks to this redesigned lower bumper and LED headlights which are a bit sharper. They've even made the grille larger as well, and they've gone to town on the Mercedes branding. So you've got a three-pointed star there, another one there, and loads of them in the grille. Just in case you forgot, it's a Mercedes. From the side profile, if you look at that, it sort of reminds me of a shark, an oceanic white tip to be precise. Yeah, I've been watching too much David Attenborough. Moving down the side, they haven't tried to do too much. It's just elegant, it's smooth, it's clean, it works. Round the back though, maybe they could have tried a bit harder because it's just a touch generic for my liking. They're the big problem I have. Yet again, CarWow Sticker Truth will reveal these are some hideous fake exhaust pipes. I think Mercedes started the fake exhaust pipe craze and they're not giving up on it. Such a shame. If I'm brutally honest, one of the main reasons people buy these four cars is for the badge on their grille or bonnet. Yes, you pay a premium, but they have to also look premium. And the Audi does. You know, it's got a massive grille, but it sort of works. Sharp headlights. I really like the design down the side with the creases and stuff. Really, really nice. But here at the back, there is something I just cannot forgive, and I'll need the CarWow Sticker Truth to reveal the lies that Audi is telling. Look, fake exhaust pipes. Massive exhaust pipes like you'd expect on one of their RS models, but no. What a joke. I don't need the CarWow Sticker Truth for the BMW because it has a real exhaust pipe. This diffuser and that vent are fake though, but let's just move on down the side. I think it's generally an alright looking car. Doesn't look quite as nicely proportioned, or the creases down the side don't work or look as muscular as on the Audi. And at the front, while its grille is smaller, it doesn't look quite as nice. It's not as bad when it's blacked out like this because you don't notice it so much, but there's something slightly awkward looking about it, isn't there? The Volkswagen Golf also has fake exhaust pipes-ish. This design treatment here, it's sort of hinting at them. It's not as bad though as the Audi or the Mercedes, and really this car has the best rear end as far as I'm concerned. Love the creases, love the square squattiness of it. Down the side, similar story. It's very much a Golf, but there's something just expensive feeling about the way you have these creases in the body panels. And then you get to the front of the car, and this is where Volkswagen totally dropped the ball. It's like they left the styling model next to the radiator and it melted at the front. Something droopy and sorry looking about it. Also looks like it's got a monobrow. Kind of reminds me of Bert from Sesame Street, you see? I can't fault the interior design of the Volkswagen Golf though. I think it looks lovely, especially with this light trim. I think more people should go for a light trim. It just lifts the car's cabin. One of the reasons it looks so neat and tidy is because they put most of the car's functions through the touchscreen rather than having lots of buttons. That's good aesthetically, but it's not good from a practical point of view. So if you're driving along and you want to change the temperature, you have to sort of like swipe here. Same with the volume control, and if you want to access the fan speed, first press climate there. Climate! 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 There we go. And then you can change the fan speed. Fappage. And that brings me on to the infotainment system itself. It's okay, but a little bit laggy at times and can get a bit confusing. I need to turn that off. So climb it off. Moving on to the digital driver's display, that's actually pretty nice. Plenty of information, lots of different views which you can cycle through using the buttons on the steering wheel. Which brings me on to the quality feel in here. Everything that you touch regularly feels very plush and expensive. It's only things lower down that start to feel a little bit cheaper, but nothing feels flimsy. It's quite nice. Bizarrely, the interior of the Audi doesn't feel quite as well made as the Golf. Like some of the plastics just seem cheaper, especially the plasticky door handles. Also, the design, I'm not convinced. There's just a bit too much going on with this poddy area here and the air vents, and there is something that I do prefer over the Golf. I think the infotainment system is a little bit slicker, more responsive, and I like the fact that you have climate control buttons separated from the infotainment system completely. Much easier to use that. The climate controls are also separated from the infotainment system here on the BMW, but compared to the Audi, the design just works so much better, and I think the quality is better as well. In fact, I'd say it is the best out of all four cars. The infotainment system is really good as well, and you can control it using a touchscreen, gesture controls, you know, doesn't understand that one, swivel wheel, and by voice commands. What I'm less impressed with though is the digital driver's display. You just can't change the views quite as much as you can in either the Golf or the Audi, and it's a little bit dark and dingy and miserable. Shame, because overall this is a very, very nice car to sit in. I can't fault the tech at all on this Mercedes. Huge digital driver's display with so many different views and layouts, really, really nice, like that, and the best infotainment system here. And just the overall design, it just works. It just looks so good, so modern, even though this car isn't all that new. Though, of course, they have updated it recently, and what they've done is given it a new steering wheel. But there's one thing annoying about this steering wheel. It uses touch-sensitive buttons, so you're sometimes driving along and accidentally changing some of the functions when you don't mean to. Another thing they've done is remove the touchpad, which allows you to control the infotainment system if you don't want to touch it. Now, I never used it, but what they've gone and done is just created this space where it used to be. A very useless space. And that brings you on to the build quality, and weirdly, while you might expect Mercedes has the highest quality, it's actually the lowest. And you'll find the worst plastics here in the Mercedes. Like, it's horrible. It's a bit cheap feeling. This, there, that's all flimsy and wobbly.
How can I help?
You can help by not interrupting when I'm trying to...
I'm sorry. Can you say that again, please?
You double interrupted then. What's the matter with you? Can you go away now, please? This is annoying as well. So you do have separate controls for the climate, but look at the wobbling, that's awful. Oh my gosh. I think she's gone.
We need to work on our relationship.
Brilliant. All is forgiven. Here in the back seats, the A-Class is roomy enough. Decent knee room, decent headroom, though if you need to carry 3 people in the back at once, it can be a bit of a squeeze, and it's not great for the middle passenger because this central seat is a little bit firm and raised. If you need to carry a child seat in the back, it's not too much of a problem. However, the rear doors don't open that wide, but once you've manoeuvred the seat in, there's enough space back here that you can even fit a bulky rear facing seat without having to move the front passenger seat forward. That is good. What's also good is the fact the ISOFIX anchor points are just so easy to get to. The back seats in the Audi feel a little bit tighter than on the Mercedes in terms of knee room and headroom. However, the rear bench seat is raised up slightly more from the floor, so if you're not the tallest person like me, it's actually slightly more comfortable. However, people over 6 foot are going to struggle with the way this roof slopes in. They'll end up just like brushing their head against it. And if you try and squeeze 3 people in the back at once, they're going to suffer that problem even worse. Though the person in the middle will be more comfortable than in the Mercedes because the central seat is just a bit more comfortable. However, when it comes to fitting a baby seat, like with the Mercedes, it's a bit of a struggle to get the seat into the back in the first place, mainly because of the sloping roof line. But once you've got it in, you're probably going to have to move the front passenger chair forward a little bit to create space. I do like the ISOFIX anchor covers though. While they're not completely exposed like in the Mercedes, they have these easy flip up covers. Considering the Volkswagen Golf shares many of its parts underneath with the Audi, it somehow feels just a bit more roomy in the back. Not sure if once again it's to do with this light interior, makes it feel more airy. The fact you've got these bigger rear windows, which are great for children to look out of, or the boxy shape, which means that headroom is pretty good, and people over 6 foot will be better in this than in the Audi. It's also slightly better for carrying 3 in the back at once than the Audi, once again because the roof doesn't slope in quite so much from the sides. When it comes to fitting a child seat, it's the best of the bunch. The rear doors open nice and wide, the ISOFIX anchor points are easy to get to, and there's plenty of space to fit a rear facing seat. It's all very nice back here. You've even got these little pockets there which sort of look like a bra. It's a bra for your mobile phone, I think. You put your phones in there. Finally, we come to the back seats of the BMW, and it doesn't feel quite as spacious as the Golf, and it's not just due to the fact that the trim is all dark and miserable. It's because this roofline slopes somewhat. As a result, headroom is a little bit tighter. People over 6 foot may struggle. I can't fault knee room, that's okay. And the centre seat is quite comfy if you need to carry 3 people in the back at once. There is enough shoulder room actually. The problem though, once again, due to the sloping roofline, means that the outer passengers will be rubbing their head against the roof there with the way it slopes in. When it comes to fitting a baby seat, once again, the sloping roofline means that you have to stoop down a bit more to get the seat in, but once you do, there's enough space back here to manoeuvre it into place, and the ISOFIX anchor points are dead easy to get to. Now let's compare these cars' boot capacities, starting with the Mercedes A-Class. It has the least amount of space at 350 litres, but it's still quite large enough for most people's needs from this size of car. It does lack some functionality though. For instance, there's no underfloor storage really. There's a bit of a lip to lift things over, and because you've got these big fixed headrests, when you fold the seats down, they sometimes snag and you have to move the seats in the front a bit forward. I do like the fact that you get 3-way folding seats though, which is good, but that's quite annoying. Right, I've got to do it at the back. Bear with me, let's just do this. There, right. We'll find out if we have that problem with the Audi. Its boot capacity is 380 litres, and you might look at it and think there doesn't seem so much space as in the Mercedes, but that's because you've got this false floor, which you can lower like that, or you can raise again to get rid of that boot lip. And once again you have 3-way folding seats, which flop down with the headrests in place because you can move the headrests up and down. It's good. Moving on to the BMW, like the Audi, 380 litres of space, and like the Audi, underfloor storage. Though you can't adjust the height of this, but you can do that with it, so you can fill the boot up a little bit higher than when you have this down like that. Decent functionality, apart from one thing, there's no 3-way folding, just 2-way folding. Bit of a shame that, bit of a shame. Thought he was going to do a really good job. Finally then we come to the Golf, which has the largest boot, 381 litres of space. Like with the Audi, you have an adjustable boot floor, so you can use it to minimise that load lift. I also like this, you can hold that false floor up like that if you want to. You do have a ski hatch, so you can carry some longer items and people in the back, but the seats still only fold 2 ways. Still, you don't have the problem you do on the Mercedes. They'll go down easily without you having to move the seats forward in the front. So which car has the best boot overall? It's between the Golf and the Audi. I'm going to say the Audi, but really there's not much in it. It's not going to be the final deciding point on which car you're going to go for, let's be honest. What's more important is how they drive. I'm going to start off behind the wheel of the Golf, and I should disclose that this particular car is fitted with the optional adaptive dampers, and oh my gosh, they make this feel like a very sophisticated car. The way it goes over bumps, really good at smoothing out imperfections in the road. If you don't have the system, it's not quite as good, but it still is a very, very relaxing car to travel in. It's quiet, it's comfy, got reasonable handling. I mean, it's no sports car, but if you throw it at a bend, it will willingly go round without toppling over. It just does everything really well. Nothing spectacular though. If there is one slight weakness, it could be the engine and the gearbox combination. So this automatic gearbox is generally very, very good. It's just when you're manoeuvring at lower speeds, it can feel a little bit jerky. Also, the 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine, which I've got in this car, and is the pick of the range, sometimes can leave you floundering when you suddenly put your foot down. So yeah, foot down, You have to wait for a second until it comes into life and does its thing. And when it does do its thing, it's pretty swift, though it does like to make a song and dance about it. A bit noisy. The rest of the car is quiet though when you're cruising along. Very, very impressive. So too is the economy. So this thing is averaging 46 miles per gallon. I think I'll take that. Next up, Audi. Now, this doesn't have the adaptive dampers like the Golf had, but if we were comparing like with like, so a Golf without the adaptive dampers, there would be something just a little bit more special the way this holds the road. A very small difference, but one that you notice when you back to back the cars. It's almost as though the Audi has to be a little bit better just because it's an Audi. Now, this particular car, being the S-Line, has slightly stiffer suspension than standard. As a result, it doesn't feel quite as comfortable as the Golf I was just driving with its adaptive dampers. But once again, if you compare it with a Golf without adaptive dampers, they're very close. And this S-Line with the lower stiffened suspension just has a slightly more sporty feel to the way it drives. So when you throw it into a corner, it doesn't lean quite as much as the Golf. And I do think it's just more of a spirited drive. There's not much in it, but once again, back to back the cars and you notice the difference. Finally though, let's just check the economy. Is that better than the Golf's? So it's 43 miles per gallon, which obviously the way both cars have been driven might be slightly different, and that'll account for the difference. But once again, this 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine mated to the 7-speed automatic gearbox give you pretty good economy. Jumping out of the Audi into the BMW, this instantly feels like a slightly sportier car. This is on the M Sport suspension, which is lowered and stiffered. But while the S-Line sporty suspension in the Audi doesn't actually feel all that sporty, this really does. You just seem to feel the bumps a little bit more in this car. It's not uncomfortable, and that sporty setup sort of makes it feel really sure-footed, like solid, and like a bigger car. Also, another advantage of that sporty setup is the fact that this car definitely goes around corners the best. So if your commute to work includes some twisty roads and you like to have some fun, the BMW is definitely the car to go for. It has the sportiest drive to it. There is something that lets it down ever so slightly. It's the engine. In this car, I've got a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder with 140 horsepower, and it's okay. But sometimes when you put your foot down, yeah, it takes a while for it to actually start going. Another thing with this car is, while you don't get much wind noise, there is quite a bit of road noise. I don't know whether it's just the tyres fitted in this car or just a BMW. They do sometimes suffer with a bit more road noise than their competitors. But for having fun, I can't fault it. And in terms of economy, it's not bad either. 44 miles per gallon. Finally, we come to the Mercedes A-Class. And you know what? This car blends a nice compromise between the sporty edge of the BMW and the comfort of the Audi. It is a nice car to drive. The steering is sharp, it's accurate, it handles pretty well, but it doesn't have independent rear suspension like the other 3 cars that I have on test. And as a result, it doesn't feel quite as planted when the road surface isn't entirely perfect. It's a bit of a shame that, because, you know, Mercedes is supposed to be an expensive, sophisticated car, but actually this one has the most basic suspension setup. Bit of a shame. Will most people notice it? No. Only motoring journalists trying to justify their existence. Overall, this is a good car, and the engines are good as well. The 1.3 in this, yeah, goes all right and has more than enough performance, and it's returning 39 miles per gallon, which, while not mega, is all right. So then, what's my final verdict? Which car is the best out of these 4? They're so closely matched that really any of them could have won. If you're buying one, just go for the one that you either get the best deal on or you like the look of most. For me though, which one is it? Well, I don't think it's the BMW, and it's not quite the Audi either. It's between the Golf and the Mercedes. And for me, the Mercedes just edges it as an all-round package, as a posh, small family hatchback that is good to live with and makes you feel good about yourself. And that's why it wins this test. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know if you agree with my verdict in the comments below by voting in the pinned comment as to which of these 4 cars you'd rather have. If you click on those windows there, you can watch some more videos, and click on that box there to go to CarWow to change your car. Not only can you check out the latest offers on a wide range of new cars, you can sell your current car through CarWow by having dealers all across the country bid on it. Thanks for watching.